Hey guys, and welcome back to Fleetyards Reviews. I'm Captain Foley.
And I'm Commander Cockins, and it's Orville episode 5.
That's right, and this one's called Pria. So, overall,
Yes, thoughts.
nothing happens. That's the end of this. That's the end of the episode. We're done. It was pretty good.
Well, yeah, in essence, this is our spoiler-filled review, because you can't not spoil this without saying anything, and that was in itself was a spoiler, but it's so convoluted that, for me, this was one of the weaker ones, and it felt like they were going through the motions a lot. The twist was great, but doesn't save the first 30 minutes. That's my overall thoughts.
Yeah, I would have to agree with that. I sensed a few different plot points from different TNG episodes kind of mashed together. In my opinion. This one's directed by Jonathan Frakes as well. It's worth saying that. And
written by Seth MacFarlane, so you would think the two top brass. And it's very Star Trek in everything.
Yeah.
But it didn't hit home. I don't think it fell a little bit flat, which is a shame. Because the concept, that reveal, which we'll get to in chronological order, is such a good concept.
Yeah.
It's all been done before a little bit, but yeah.
Yeah. Well, anyway. We'll start at the beginning. They start out on the bridge watching TV. They're watching Seinfeld, which I love. I mean, what are you going to do between star systems? We've made this joke before.
Yeah.
Like 4 minutes of excitement and then engage. And then 9 hours of mind-numbing nothingness. Just chit-chat amongst I don't know. But yeah, it's awesome that they're watching TV. So I don't know what you thought about that. But
I was like, again, it addresses the real life of the situation. And it's also bonding. Why wouldn't you all hang out, watch some TV? You're on duty, but you're literally in a subspace vacuum, going from point A to point B. Nothing can happen, and if it does, someone's already watching this, the computers are alert for it. It's fine, just, yeah.
The only problem is deciding what to watch, I think, with that many people.
I think Captain gets a say. I think it's like...
It's good to be the king.
It is. So the full crew's there, and it's one big setup for a couple of jokes later on, but it's the classic. I mean, this is very much pulled out of the TNG data. Not understanding things. It's understanding humor, and I didn't find the joke very funny. But I've actually never seen Seinfeld. Not that affects it, but the idea of a thing going to a dude's body is not. I wouldn't be rolling over the floor laughing, but you can tell that the pilot chap, he's not the most sane. So he would be the one to laugh a bit far about that.
Yeah, he's kind of lowbrow in his humor. I didn't even find that incident in Seinfeld funny either. I haven't really watched a lot of Seinfeld either, so
yeah.
Which we're gonna get knocked for in the comments. Trust me, my brothers watched them all. He's told me I gotta watch them, but whatever.
But it was a nice classic bonding of everybody, and they did. Yeah. And I don't know if this is later on specifically, but they do mention that Isaac is specifically he recharges, and so much so that you can do stuff, and then he's a fully AI character inside of a body. That's throughout the whole thing. But I found it was interesting. This episode confirms that he is a fully synthetic organism, which he is a robot. Confirmed. I just want to go into that at this point.
But yeah, well, we'll mention it a little bit later, I think.
Yeah.
But then they get a distress call from the Atreus star system.
Yes.
So they quantum drive out there. And really cool graphics, really cool CG of a comet heading towards a star, which I really liked.
Very not flashy, but well done.
Yeah.
You bought it. And it was, Captain Pria Levis of the mining ship Horizon. Although I didn't really catch that bit, I was just wondering what's going to happen. But the visuals, I mean, this showed off the view screen, or the lack thereof, the window, really nicely. The wraparound, the visuals, it was very, very nice. And you reveal Charlize Theron. How do you say her name?
Charlize Theron. Charlize Theron, yeah. She plays Pria Levesque. I wasn't sure if it's Levesque or Lebesque, because I think they pronounced it two different ways.
I think it's Levesque. So I wrote it down.
Yeah.
So she is in danger, and they have to go rescue her in classic form.
I was gonna say, it was such a TNG, like, before the opening credits scene.
Yeah.
Like, I need your help! And then...
I've got sparks in the background and smoke! I need your help, Starfleet!
And then,
Union!
And the Picard stands up and looks at the view screen all seriously, and then it's the opening credits. I mean, Captain Ed Mercer stands up. It's the exact same kind of setup. You can tell it was done by Jonathan Frakes.
It was very classical, and a very vanilla. Despite the nice visuals, but it was very simple, expected vanilla. Normally, the other episodes it has that vanilla sense, but the characters are done well and the scenarios achieved well. This one, I think they don't do either of those things as well. So that you're also watching it for the characters almost. You're watching you're almost watching it for how the characters relate to a situation that we've seen before. That's kind of the hook, and in this you didn't really have that. I did like some of the lines though. The attractiveness of the occupant makes her rescue imperative.
Yes. I also liked the I can do it. We have to do it in under 7 minutes. 7 minutes and so and so seconds. You can do it.
Yeah, those work well. And again, I want Lamar to have more stuff. He's the one that hasn't been served properly yet. I hope they give him a full episode.
I'm sure he will.
He will. And then yes, they have to go save her with a shuttle. Very classical. Nice CG of it escape. I'm sure you were going to say that. Nice CG of it going out again. Even more shuttle to rescue stuff. And nice effects, and the whole high pitched.
Yeah.
Oh, we can do it.
It's a high pitched.
I didn't. Well, you did. No, I didn't. It was good. I mean, again, his lines either really work or they do fall a bit flat. It was a very relatable scene, but fell flat as well, a bit. Again, yeah.
And then they dock on, and of course, can you open this jar of pickles yet again? So this is going to be a recurring. This is going to be his catchphrase, and I'm sure somebody's going to mention it at some point.
You do. You do.
You
mentioned it.
I did the second time. Yeah.
3 times in 5 episodes.
Yeah.
3 out of 3 doors had to be opened like pickles. Maybe that's just how doors should be opened. I did note that to quote CinemaSins in their format, CG door is CG.
Yeah.
It's a good effect.
Opens it. Absolutely, yeah.
It's a good effect, actually. It's very well done, but it's like that, yeah. But I like the practical set they did, and they pull her out, and they escape with 11 seconds to go. Again, very, very. It was a lot of. It was odd how much. In a plot, you can show it, or you can talk about it, or you can allude to it. In this plot, they showed us all of the in-between steps, but it was there was no tension really. It was nice, but there was nothing amazing about it. There was no amazing character beats, so it's kind of like you could have saved some of this, or you could have started with them rescuing her, saved the first few minutes, had more time to develop later on. Like you didn't need all of this 20 minutes of setup, of just the beat by beat by beat action,
And then they're trying to get away. The shuttle gets caught in the gravity.
So you didn't need that.
Yeah, exactly. But then they get tractored in, which was kind of cool to see the tractor beam from inside the shuttle. The like the way it was really well done. So,
and it does make sense. A shuttle shouldn't be able to go against the sun's gravity. So that was I appreciate at least that was there. But a bit strange.
And then in sickbay she was talking about she came from the Mutara system, which I had to mention. Mutara Nebula, I guess. There's a nice little call out. I'm noticing all the place names because they are making them quite relevant.
Yeah, because I always listen out. Is that direct reference or is that not? Yeah. Like the Epsilon station early on. We get another reference to the Krill battle cruiser. They are the menace apparently of the galaxy. I did kind of like the hamster line. I gotta say, isn't he the guy that had the hamster? Yes, sir. Let's tell us about hamster. I'll get a different room. I thought, okay, that's kind of cute. But where did the guy go though? Where did the guy?
Maybe he just got transferred, or
I assume so. I thought it was kind of cute though. I was like, yeah.
I thought that line that didn't work for me.
Yeah.
We have a different sense of humor, I think.
Well, not mostly, but yeah. And then what do you think about? Okay, what do you think about the next scene? Set up this next scene.
Oh, so he's trying to teach Isaac about humor or practical jokes, and Isaac walks on the bridge wearing all Mr. Potato Head stuff, which I thought was absolutely hilarious. Oversized Mr. Potato Head pieces. And of course, it's funny because I thought the same thing, like, how can he see? And then Lamar's like, how can you see? Well, I use my internal sensors and detect the environment around me. These didn't appear to be a threat. I thought that was hilarious. So we learned a little bit about Isaac as well. He doesn't actually. His eyes are just there to
Purely
have people be able
aesthetic.
to relate to him. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is very clever.
So, yeah. I kind of wondered about those in past episodes, but
yeah, it's nice we're drip drop learning about him and his abilities and what he can and can't do. Actually. And yeah, this was my favourite moment of the episode, because as he walked on, I just laughed. Like I let out a huge laugh and I kept giggling, and even when to pull the ninjas for this episode, I had a smile on my face just instinctively just watching it, because every single angle, every time he turns, is perfect. And the hat, it's just excellent.
And then it's like, well, you'll have to get me back at some point, and it has to be a surprise. And I'm like, yeah, how can that go wrong? That's just a stupid thing. I hate those practical joke wars. They just never work out.
Especially with a hyper intelligent AI robot doesn't understand humor. Not gonna go well. Don't pick fights, please. And in terms of a B plot, it's again right out of TNG, and I think it is fine, but could have been refined a bit. Could have been maybe slimmed down a bit. Maybe, yeah. Again, and then we get a beautiful CG pan into the ship, and I took some little stills of the rooms. First of all, you have a wonderful refraction effect, showing the glasses like actually bobbing out of the hull, and there's a slight distortion. Although there's a guy right in the middle. I thought that was like a TNG room, and he's had a TNG uniform. I could have sworn they like Easter egged something Trek, like a Trek room in there, but it isn't. But I just love that we got to see that, and now we know exactly where the captain's quarters are, and also the captain's quarters and an unused quarters next to it. They've got plastic over everything because it's not his quarters.
Yeah. Maybe they just painted it, or there was a murder or something.
Well, a murder? Jesus. So Isaac's first practical joke went really bad. Yeah.
So I got to admit, the captain's quarters are really cool. I love the split level approach. He's got a spiral staircase that goes up to the bedroom, and he's got like a main. I thought that was awesome. Way better than Picard's quarters, and Picard's quarters were pretty nice. You know what I'm saying? So I really appreciate that, and the fact he has a cocktail party for his senior staff occasionally. That was kind of neat as well. So
yeah, it was again. The decor is very, very simple. I wish there was a bit more color. That was my only thing. But I noticed the spiral staircase and was like, is that really a spiral? Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, and his nice little annex, his nice little roof bit with the room, with the bed,
and the interior of the ship always continues to impress me. The more I see, the more I really love the way they have this ship done. It's definitely a ship that I would want to serve on. Neat and clean,
but also not the same. It feels like an office space as opposed to a hotel that TNG did. You know, it's more work than the TNG, which is more colourful and like everyone says hotel. I don't think it looks like a hotel personally. It's never been in a hotel looking like it, but I wasn't around in the 80s, so I was not in those hotels. And just a quick note, just from a pure aesthetic, don't like Shalice's dress, and do note she changes outfit in every single scene she's in. She's in her outfit in every single scene. Pretty much, like every time they swap situation, it's a completely different outfit, and they're all pretty good. But I don't like this one for some reason.
I really thought this one was cool. I was digging it.
But the reason I point that out, and I'm not wanting to talk about dress sense, I appreciate Alara's, like, they added some sort of culturalness to her costume. Like she actually had things. It wasn't just whatever. Well, I noted again that it's interesting how in the again I'm trying to dissect any little thing because it's all deliberate. You know. If you look at all the humans are talking to each other, and the two aliens are back out of the conversation.
I noticed that too. Yeah.
And they don't really have any lines in the entire scene, so I'm kind of like, oh, okay.
You're not allowed to talk because you're not human.
But I felt sad because she's so like. Obviously, we've all been to parties, and to be that person, you're like.
Yeah. Every party I've ever gone to.
Wow. And I also liked the commander's dress. I thought her dress was amazing.
I would mirror that sentiment. Yes, I would mirror that sentiment as well. Yes, absolutely.
That's what I mean. Compared to Charisse, like the contrast, like, whoa, she is stunning beyond. Despite her face, it's like she's having to hate the woman so much in this scene. So you don't get like a beautiful face. You get like, I hate you face. Yeah.
And the fact that the captain and Pria grew up like right next door to each other, pretty much, the small town wise, and had that museum in common. That was really cool. So it's worth pointing that out. We learned a little bit about him as far as where he grew up and stuff. So,
and that was a scene that felt like those people actually knew each other, because we know they know each other from previous films and they've worked together before. That actually felt some chemistry of it was very naturalistic acting, and Seth does that quite well. And obviously we didn't know where the plot was going, so we're kind of wondering where's it going to go, how we're going to approach that. Now, what did you think about the obvious? Okay, so I don't know if this is meant to be the out of order episode, because I know they had some slight scheduling differences. But what did you think about bringing in? Okay, now the second in command is jealous, sort of, and now Ed's potentially got a date, sort of, like building that into this episode, the romance subplot. What do you think about that as the? I guess that was sort of the B storyline or the C storyline. What do you think about
that? I thought it was fine. I didn't have much of a... The fact that we know that Kelly, she requested to be on the ship. She got him his command. She wants to get back together with him. It's quite obvious. She's actually jealous. And having been married to him, she knows that he's an idiot and that he's making stupid decisions because of a pretty face. I just thought that was an interesting plot point. And, I thought it was great. And then the next scene is the engineering room. This was interesting to finally see it. It's kind of a neat design, nice and clean again, very very modern and futuristic. The one thing that bothered me about it, though, is the extremely long console in the middle with all the same colored buttons. It's all very cluttered. There's a lot of stuff on there. Yeah. It's not simplistic like we see in TNG with their engineering table. I don't know what you thought about that, but I thought it was just very cluttered, and it would be hard to work on that, I think.
I was happy to see it, but appreciated that they ran out of budget for that set. They built everything else was in all the previous episodes. They ran out of budget. They just put something together. It's not... I mean, it looks like this one out of all the sets feels like a spoof sci-fi. So few consoles, all the same. Engine looks like an engine. It was underwhelming as an engine room. And again, it just shows you how good the TNG, Voyager, all those engineering rooms are so incredible. Genuine, even the Defiant, like really excellent designs. This is not. It's fine, but it's a run out of budget sort of situation.
Yeah, this one kind of reminds me of the Defiant engine room a little bit, just because of the basic layout. But yeah, I totally agree with you on that one. Star Trek does engine rooms much more elegantly, especially Voyager. Voyager's my favorite.
Yeah, but again, it was smaller set. I mean, it's all practical, which is brilliant. But so I guess so was Voyager, but it's smaller. I did like the fact that that simple, long table, but cause that's again reminiscent of TNG. But yeah, it wasn't very interesting. But you missed two little plot points before we got onto the engineering room. They're in the crew quarters and they're talking, and she gives a little kiss on the cheek, and I thought they were going to full on kiss her. I was like, okay, good, you restrained that. You're letting it breathe a bit more. Good. Otherwise, it's too rushed. And then Kelly is very suspicious, and she's finding out information. She's starting her vendetta against her, I guess. But she was right. Yes. So, spoilers. So in this scene, we get to see Blob Monster again. Cool. He's an engineer officer.
Yeah. I was going to say before that, though, we find out it's a Dysonium quantum drive.
Yes. It's powered by Dysonium. Yeah.
Yeah, and it can go 10 light years per hour, which doesn't seem very fast.
And she was thoroughly impressed, and he was like, I know, right? Yeah.
And then we finally get introduced to the chief engineer. His name is Steve Newton.
Okay.
Well, we saw him in another episode. We didn't know his name, though. Yeah. I've been paying attention, and we finally got his name. So Steve Newton.
Newton's
for what it is.
Engineer's name, sure.
Yeah.
I buy that. Odd characterization. Much more of an American Dad, Family Guy sort of character, Yeah. But it's nice. It means, hey, the more they bring the recurring characters back, the more of a family feel you get, the more cohesive you feel. So I appreciate that for sure. And again, now we know the Blob guy is is one of the engineering officers, which is great. Yeah, give him a real purpose.
Later they mentioned he was in one of the tubes checking some stuff. So I assume because he's a gelatinous blob, maybe he can get in there easily. I don't know.
You mean he's cat puke?
Yes, a pile of cat puke.
They had good interplay. I appreciated that. But yeah, I mean, 10 light years per hour, that does seem very slow. And if you look at, 70,000 light years for Voyager, 90 years. So, 70,000, that's 7,000 times that. I guess 7,000 hours doesn't sound as much. I guess that might be faster.
I don't know. I'm not good.
We've never been quantified per hour, have we? Not like in Trek.
Not really. No. Well, I think there is a warp speed.
Oh,
a warp skill chart with the.
Yeah, I mean they've invented it, but I mean like they never say we can go 500 light years at warp 5.6. So that was nice to put a number on it. Yeah.
So of course Kelly's suspicious of her. She wants to get Alara to go check out her quarters, and I really appreciated this that Alara's like, well, it's kind of awkward for me as chief engineer unless you order me. Well, it's not
chief
an order.
Security officer.
Yeah, it's a Kelly request. And then she commented too on the googly eyes going on at the reception.
They loved,
which I thought was interesting because I think in the last episode or the one before, Laura is interested in Captain Mercer as well. I think so. I thought there was going to be
at least alluded
something
to,
mentioned there. Yeah, but it didn't really materialize. So,
but if they are out of order though, then that wouldn't those ties wouldn't necessarily connect. Yeah, I again, some relationships don't necessarily hit better as well as others. Those two liking each other is very evident, and their rapport is pretty nice. I mean, if you look at the scale, I mean, they're both in high command, of the ship, both distinct responsibilities. One is obviously older, more experienced, but the other one is much stronger and has been fast tracked. And she, again, for such a young officer, she's younger than me, and I'm not that old. We're about the same age. She does her job very, very well, I think. Like, she's obviously... But I feel like she takes extra steps in her mind to process the right decision. Because she can't mess up. So she's having these... Like, there was more in that conversation than the actors put in than I think was written there, which I appreciate. But I think those two are good together, which is why we keep seeing them together. I think they play off each other well.
So anyway, bottom line is they end up checking out her quarters because of a suspicious or a suspected radiation leak. And again, I say here too that the interior of the ship really continues to impress me. I love everything about it.
Yeah.
Although the chairs around that table are definitely from TOS. They're the same kind of chairs we've seen a few times in TOS.
They look like the shuttle ones. Yeah.
Yeah.
The sort of side ones. Yeah. And then, is that a bar back there, or is that the replicator? Because that's a whole area, which I really liked.
What's the replicator? That's like in Bordis's quarters.
But he had only a little alcove though. Like everyone has different quarters, which I really appreciate.
Yeah. As far as I remember, it was that long thing. We just got a different camera angle of it.
Yeah.
Just so, but yeah. The quarters are really impressive.
And then we find a thing. And I like that they do this shot of her lifting up the bed as if it's really heavy and she's really strong. It's like, no, I could do that. It's not that heavy. Like the sound of it was like, thing. It's like no, it's just.
It's memory foam, guys.
Yeah. Yeah. I say, find a box. What is the box?
Can't scan through it. But the scanner, that close up of the scanner is really neat. Yeah. I love the wave pattern that goes across. So, could be a belt buckle.
That was a good line.
I would have said paperweight personally, but whatever.
Why would you hide a paperweight? Why would you hide a belt buckle? See, the problem is though, now we've got they've had this little. What are you doing here? That whole thing. And then we've had this reprimand. But all this is just the lead up. And how many minutes are we through? A lot. It's very, very slow. Every beat. You could have skipped so many scenes and had more payoff at the end. And that was the meat of the episode is the end. And they're wasting so much on the veg and potatoes that aren't filling.
Yeah, I understand. The next scene we're in his quarters and they're getting their reprimand. I noticed he has a slinky behind him, which is kind of neat. There's a slinky on the shelf. And on his desk there was a little spherical thing, and I couldn't quite find out what it was. Now that I've got a still of it in front of me, I can zoom in. It's actually like a glass sphere with the solar system inside it. Earth's solar system. Nice. Which is a neat little touch. You can see Saturn in there and the sun, and
Nice.
Yeah, really cool. Anyway, then there's a red alert situation.
And I still love that effect. Just the visuals of that.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And it turns out they're in a dark matter cluster, or a dark matter field or storm. I forget what they called it.
Dark matter storm, yeah. It's ultra rare, and what a cool scene.
It is. And then they changed their weapons polarity to become neutralized axion particles.
Yes.
And scan around, and then you can see all the dark matter pockets, which kind of reminds me of, I forget which episode of TNG it was, with the dark matter. But anyway, this again feels very reminiscent of some episodes of both Deep Space Nine and TNG. Although when they did the scan and you saw all the dark matter, I thought it looked kind of cartoonish. It wasn't a great effect.
Wait, again, how do you visualize dark matter? I mean, I thought it was an interesting concept. It's sort of water particles, but not really. But it's pockets of something. So I liked it. But yeah, I mean, it's. I mean, how do you represent a black thing? That is
in space.
Yeah.
No, I understand the problem, but it just looked kind of funny and cartoonish to me.
Yeah, but I like the fact. Now this is a nice little lead on to later on. They say, you know, she offers this solution. He's like, wow, that has never ever been done before. She's like, well, we did it. There's a reason why it's never been done before yet.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that was actually a nice little call forward. Call forward, double. Yeah.
Yeah, it was cool seeing them plot the matter things and fly through it.
But very long
again,
as a scene.
It was, yeah. Again, this reminded me too of when Picard was flying the Enterprise through the asteroids, or avoiding the whatever he was avoiding.
But yes, so she saves the ship. Congratulations, and they trust her now. And she's so humble and nice about it. And Kelly is not happy, but that's earned Ed's trust. So he takes her on a date to both some incredible green screening and some not incredible green screening. I mean, that first shot is just incredibly done. I mean, the depth, the beauty, just really excellent. And then the reverse shot is just bland and green screen.
Yeah, and this is the scene that I was referring to earlier from A Million Ways to Die in the West, when they were sitting on top of the mountain, smoking the weed and tripping out about the coyotes. It's the same feel. They're in the same position. They're having the same kind of, cute little exchanges back and forth. So, like I said, their chemistry really works, which is why I'm glad she was on the show. I have a feeling she will be returning at some point, but we'll see about that. I mean, it's a possibility.
We'll talk about that at the end, I guess.
I guess so.
And so they kiss, and he says, take it slow, and then hard cut to, they might have taken it slow, but slow in the bedroom.
Mm-hmm.
Or fast in the bedroom, however Ed likes to shake hands. It's a good cut there. And then pillow talk, because, what do you think about this scene? 'Cause, I mean, was this too rushed? Was it just right? Did it need it? Does it make sense?
I think it needed it for character development for Ed. I mean, he's vulnerable, but at the same time, he's I don't know. I thought it was necessary. I thought it was well done. It wasn't out of place, I don't think, at all, considering the circumstances. So
I just think, I mean, most relationships in most films are a little bit rushed to say, well, how do you fancy him so quickly? I think probably
an hour.
Yeah. And I think that party that he hosted, they probably talked for a lot of the party.
Yeah.
That's where they made the connection. So you can assume they did spend an entire evening having a chat and such. That's probably where they built that. And then he confided in her all this stuff. Well, he didn't mention who the wife was, which I thought was interesting at the end when she knows. And he said, "I think I knew it was coming," which was interesting. Did he push her away on purpose?
No, I don't think so. But in hindsight, you're like, well, I was never there, kind of thing. Yeah. Anyway, that's depressing. Next scene. Get to see. I love this. This turns to 7:00. The alarm goes off. And
on his
the lights,
phone? Yes.
No, I think that's a mounted pad on the thing. Yeah. You see them all over the place.
Okay.
And then all the lights in the room turn on, like slowly brighten up, which is really cool. It's a great way to wake up, actually.
Yes. And you're wondering what's going to happen here. What happened
How
here,
would you
Stuart?
How would you not notice? I'm sorry, but when I swing out of bed, he even swings out of bed, sits on the side for a second, and then goes to stand up and falls over because
you've had mornings when you're barely seeing, what's happening? Oh no, you've had that.
I guess.
I mean, he could have thought his leg fell asleep. That happens. Could have slept it the wrong way. Couldn't feel it properly.
Anyway, his left leg was amputated by Isaac while he slept, which is hilarious. And then he confronts him on the bridge.
Oh, that's a strong scene.
Yeah, I mean, jumping on one foot all the way to the bridge, you must be pretty pissed off.
And that's the most serious he's ever been, as well as the character.
Yeah,
like
Yeah, and of course Isaac's like, I thought this was funny. It was unexpected, and why
it
are
fit
you not
the
laughing?
criteria.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. So it's a very Data moment there. Like, I don't understand. Why is it not funny?
Well, it was Data, and then to the absolute extreme.
Oh, yeah.
Which was what the show can do.
Yeah.
And what do you think of the? Obviously this joke has been set up in 3 scenes. What do you think of this payoff then?
It was hilarious. I love it. It was a little extreme, but looking at it from Isaac's perspective, yeah, it should have been funny. I don't understand why it wasn't funny.
Well, it's also, I mean, later on, spoiler, he gets a new leg, not reattached. They let him grow a new leg. Mm-hmm. So there's obviously Isaac knows that there'll be no repercussions to this, and he felt no pain, and he's feeling no pain. So in terms of a joke, it's just the mental shock, not physical, mental shock of, oh my god, I lost my leg. There's nothing, we're in the future, and he knows it, so he's doing a future joke,
Yeah. And I like how he's like, where's my leg? Oh, I've hidden that, because of the importance of it to you. And the captain's like, it'd just be easier just to regenerate it. Just go down to sickbay.
Yeah.
So just easier to regenerate the leg than actually find it and reattach
Can they
it.
scan for the guy's life sizes in 2 places,
Yeah, you'd think.
So anyway, they call Captain and Kelly to engineering, and the belt buckle has found its way into the subsystem somehow. That's not a very good joke, so I'm just going to keep going. So yeah, oh my goodness, I was reusing the set, and they confront Charlize, who's having a drink, very, very casual, she's all fine, and then, oh no, Stuart, the plot's really happening now, because that was all set up.
Turns out she's from the 29th century. I don't know what it is about the 29th century, but it's very appealing for some reason. Yes. I guess it's just a nice number. Maybe that's the last century we actually have, because the universe ends or something. I don't understand. 29th century happens quite a bit. But yeah,
no, I honestly thought she was making it up. I thought she was a con artist, and it would be, nah, I'm not, later on. So I was like, I'm not sure which way to take this, but it's true. I was like, oh, okay, that's bold. Bold as a storyline. I mean, what do you think of that as a concept, of the fact that she's there to steal the ship, but not really, but sort of? She's a dealer in rare artifacts in mint condition.
She's like a future eBay seller. It's just, again, it worked for me as a plot line. It's been used in TNG with I forget what's his name.
Yep.
Anyway, stealing little trinkets and inventing them himself. So yeah, it worked for me. I thought it was fine.
But there's the Octo.
I like her little control pad, by the way.
Yeah.
On her arm.
Yeah, they did a good job trying to. What is one little step of the future ahead of that?
Yeah.
But there's obviously the secondary plot to that reveal that the Orville was meant to be destroyed, and she saved it.
That I didn't believe. I thought that was just.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, I bought that more than the other thing. I was like, damn.
No, I'm the other way around. I thought she was just saying that because how would they know any different? You know what I mean?
But also, why would she lie? If she knows
not exactly
she's
100% trustworthy.
No, but they're powerless to stop her. I'm sure she has more tech.
If she's successful, the ship disappeared. Therefore, they got destroyed. Therefore, they all supposedly died. If she's successful, so she is telling the truth, but at the same time,
but she never did go back in the first place. So she's changed. She's her records didn't have it disappear, which means she's changing it, and she can't affect the timeline because that's not what she does. So it must have disappeared originally, and it wouldn't have disappeared because she wouldn't have saved them, so it must have been destroyed. That said, if she hadn't gone back and had them change course to save her, why would they have gone through the thing?
Exactly, that's what I was thinking. That was my line of thinking, but anyway.
But I buyed that, and we'll talk about it right at the end, about the repercussions of that possible storyline, because I was thoroughly intrigued by the grand scope of what that could and does mean. But yeah, so they're on their way to... We always skipped a little bit there. The ship lost its communications array. The only thing that got damaged in the flight, which she didn't do, but the device did. Okay, great. And then she's taking them to coordinates that she picked rather than the 5-day away repair facility, and they take the leg with them, and they have this heart-to-heart. Now, did you think she actually did sort of fall for him a bit?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
I believe so, yeah. It's one of the reasons I think she's going to be back as a recurring character. But
or at least a sequel like Mud.
Yeah. Something I found interesting was the leg falling from the ceiling. Where was it? Why did it fall through what looked like concrete?
It's the Generations bridge destruction scene all over again.
Yeah, sure. Just weird timing that it fell then, and it was in her quarters of all places. I don't know. That kind of didn't work for me. It was funny, but...
It was gross when she moved the leg, though. It was a really well done leg prosthetic. It was gross. Didn't like it. What do they do with the leg now that he's got a new leg?
Probably recycle it somehow. Like, put it in the medical waste thing. And I don't know. It's a good question.
Yeah, I agree with you about it being real. I think if she's the con woman, she wouldn't know to fall for him, and her falling for him, whatever, or even like him at all, wouldn't have affected what she was doing. So there's no reason for the things she did, except when she actually did kind of like, all time and space, and he's actually really nice, And if you're confident you're gonna win, he's gonna be in your time with you. Maybe he might forgive you and be happy with seeing you later. So
I'd be happy to go to 400 years in the future and live out the rest of my life there. I'd be all right, fine.
Yeah.
So anyway, yeah, basically, in the future they found a stable wormhole that can transport them through time, which is an interesting concept.
And not only that, they can manipulate it custom to go different points.
Yeah. And she said, "Let me introduce you to Amelia Earhart when we get there." So there you go.
Now that's a Trek reference. That's a Voyager reference if I ever saw one.
Yeah.
She always survives, guys, in every show.
Except for in real life, where apparently they just found remains, but that's another story. So anyway, they're down in engineering. They're trying to get the control, or at least damage this
belt buckle.
Paperweight. I prefer paperweight. I really do. And of course they shoot at it. No effect. Didn't see that coming. But then I really didn't see this coming. The fact that the engineer had an antique diamond tip drill. I thought that was fantastic. And it works. It actually gets into the material, and Isaac does his little fingers probe thing, and doesn't turn out so great.
That was a good stunt, and he looked pretty battered up, and it was kind of sad, the eyes going. And yeah, he's dead, and I actually did think he's dead. The body, I knew there'd be AI download from the cloud sort of thing. I backed up some. I thought he was actually dead. They have to use a backup drive to restore him rather than he did it on purpose. Spoilers. Although, what actually happens here then? Do you think? Because they do break the device. So they don't actually explain it.
Yeah, see, later when he messages the captain, I thought he transmitted his consciousness into the device itself, but apparently he was just in the ship's computer, which didn't work for me. I thought it'd be better if he had transplanted into the actual alien device. But with the way they explained it was that he was in the computer. So I don't understand exactly what happened and if it was actually intentional to get blown back and have all that damage. I don't know.
My guess was that he managed to shut it down or get, command control connection just before he got blown to bits, and then obviously the backup of him, whatever, in the cloud and the ship's systems was able to then remotely finish the work, but he managed to make that connection while he was there, or he did disable it while he was there. But yeah, that was a bit of a weak point. I know he's the smartest one there, but yeah.
And then they're both in sick bay. His legs regenerating, and he thought it was. He tells Isaac, even though Isaac's dead, that that was the funny. Looking back, that was the funniest practical joke I've ever.
Yeah.
Which for somebody that has that happened to them, that's good. He's a good guy that he can say that, because I don't think I could.
Yeah, that was a very future person mindset. It's like, again, he realizes there's no repercussions, everything's gonna be fine. Dude, you're a smart bastard.
Yeah.
Dude, you're smart. Dude,
and it's not like it's permanent. I can grow it back. It's fine.
Yeah.
So.
See, I think now he'll have to steal the guy's arm, and it'll just keep progressing until it's like.
Oh, I think it's going to be an ongoing thing. Absolutely.
Oh gosh, maybe. So he walks on the bridge because they're about the thing, and there's.
Yeah, this is funny. He's like, "Can you please come to the bridge?" He's like, "Are you serious?" And the next scene is, I laughed so hard during this. I don't know if you've ever seen the one Scary Movie where the guy's got the gimpy hand.
Yeah.
That's what it reminded me of. Trailing this little foot along. So I thought that was hilarious.
Yeah. And then and then Wormhole, and it was a cool visual, very Interstellar, was what I was getting, very distinctly Interstellar, rather than a hole in space. It was that, and then she teleports in, which I appreciated. Said, we've got teleports in the future.
It's good to know. Yeah, it's good to know we have teleportation in our future.
Yeah,
I was like, yes,
I like that, and it shows how powerful she is. She just didn't need to utilize her power.
Yeah.
So I'm sure they put guards on the door. It's like that doesn't. Okay, so.
Yeah, well, she said the guard wouldn't help, so.
Yeah.
So then we meet up with the Benzian ship, which looks like a giant tree.
Yeah.
Which was...
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know.
How well on earth do you design a 29th century ship? That's a good job, I think.
And... well, yeah. And is it just me, or do the Benzians look a lot like Sentinels from The Matrix? Like, exactly the same.
Yeah, and also kind of like that creature in the first episode that comes out the pond, the scientist.
Oh, yeah.
Might have been the same race, just, 400 years of evolution. But, I mean, I appreciate it, though, it's a truly alien species. How do you represent the future? Well, hyper-advanced alien race. I really liked that, and it was a very cool concept. And the fact that it doesn't speak English either. Again, that was a really... how I didn't expect them to actually go to the future. I thought the normal convention is we stop the situation. No, they went to the future. They were there. So I really appreciated how they handled that. But, he says, would you like a junior mint captain? Don't get it, but oh well. And they get control back. And they beat up Shalice, and they go back through. And this tractor beam is so ineffective that a 24th century non-amazing ship can successfully deflect a 29th century's hyper-advanced ship without any effort. I was like... I kind of thought, wow, this is their season plot. They might be stuck in the future for a few episodes.
I thought that too, actually.
Yeah.
Or just
so continue, I was like,
continue their adventures in the future for the whole rest of
Yeah, Buck Rogers, but Orville in the 29th century. I was kind of like, it was very... this is the plot, and yet it was easy. Although I appreciate that remodulate, 'cause that's what you always do in Trek, remodulate shields to... that was great, but it was like, and that was easy. And then the fact that Charlize gets beaten up and all of her tech, she doesn't have any provisions for that. It's like, why didn't anyone beat her up earlier and just knock her out? If she can't stop a beating, and that's her, her power levels seemed very inconsistent with somebody who's done this before and who knows I have to survive against these 300 personnel. We now know it's 300 personnel on board the Orville. Good to know. It all started falling apart at the end, despite the cool concept, I felt. And it wasn't even that it was rushed, it was just sloppy.
Yeah, it was just a very... The overall script, the story was just kind of not structured properly. It could have been a lot better. But...
Yeah. But I did like her line, though. I'd expect that sucker punch from a woman that cheats on her husband. I was like, oh, you do actually like him. Because if you have one line that you can say to somebody, it's not, damn it, kids. We'll go away from it. It falls with you darn kids. It was a dig at your infidelity. It's like, no, you actually fancy him. I liked that. It was a nice...
Yeah.
It's like, you told her? It's like, well, she's from the future. Of course she knows. Yeah, but I told her.
Yeah.
Orcs.
So the next scene, of course, they're in his ready room and they're chatting about, well, they've gone back through, they're in their right time again, and how the fact that she's the one that stopped them from dying in the black matter, the dark matter storm. So she's the one that altered the future. So whatever happens is not on them. And apparently
something happens.
Yeah, well, apparently, according to Isaac, as long as the wormhole's open, there's quantum possibilities or whatever. But before that, he's got her little teleporter in his hand, and he throws it in his desk drawer.
For security.
Yeah, well, absolutely. So I was thinking, that might be interesting later. I wonder if it's still going to be there later and be used as a plot point in a future episode where he teleports into somewhere.
Well, it's such a Doctor's Mobile Emitter plotline,
Yep.
in that show, that's hugely important. In this show, we haven't got that. So if you've suddenly got teleportation, brilliant. Yeah, I mean, that's a nice concept.
But then they destroy the wormhole and she disappears. And it's like it never happened. So did the teleporter disappear as well? And he was still sitting at his desk staring at where she was. So does he remember everything that happened? Did it happen? Did it not happen? Because it shouldn't have happened. But apparently it looks like it still happened as far as they're concerned. I'm confused. Temporal mechanics is always confusing, but this one really, I don't know what to think.
Yeah, I liked the fact they went into hardcore sci-fi with that. Supposed to die, but the wormhole exists, the quantum potential is... as long as there's quantum potential, there is a reason for you to come to the past. If there was never a wormhole, you could never have the idea to come back in time, which means the situation could never happen, which is a great concept, and we've seen that before. Although, obviously, if she's disappearing and... Yeah, it gets really complicated, because theoretically, if there's no wormhole for her to go back, every ship she's stolen will go back, which means they'll get blown up. And her future that she's come from no longer existing the way it is. Basically, he's just created an alternate universe. He's just subdivided the universe into a separate decision, which is really interesting. There was a future that was going to happen because of two people's direction. There's now a different universal narrative, which should and could have interesting repercussions. I thought that was pretty hefty to do. We didn't ever get that really in TNG, saying that we've just changed the entire universal direction of reality. It's normally either we're in a loop or someone's doing this to us. So we just changed time, and they were going to die. 5 episodes in, and they were destined to be blown up. It's quite a hoity concept, but you're right. If she's gone, she couldn't have stopped them. And I mean, I agree that transporter should or shouldn't, that probably shouldn't exist still. And will they have memories? I mean, I think she was implying they wouldn't have memories, because she says, if you do this, you'll go back to being that broken man who isn't over his wife.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
So.
But I expected then, after she disappeared, for them to change camera angles and him just be sitting at his desk sipping tea, reading a report, instead of just sitting there staring ahead like where she was. It's like,
it was strange how it just faded to black like that, to end on that bittersweet note. Was like, well, what happens now? Because we're now past the point of their destruction, right? So if the timeline's going to repair itself, the Orville can't exactly disappear, reappear in the past and get blown up. Like, the time won't correct itself to travel back in time. She's just getting erased from traveling back in time. But would they get because they've still changed. They've still.
Basically, they watched an episode of Seinfeld and got to the end of it because there was no distress call, basically, is what would happen.
Yeah, basically next week, they should start with the same intro sequence and then just carry on like nothing. Because that'd be the smartest idea. Because you're right, if they never saved her, they'd never be in the situation. But I liked the idea of they were going to blow up and she saved them. Because I like the idea of ripples in time. Things are going to start changing, and maybe now we get, because now we know by 29th century time travel is not a thing. People have not invented the technology. You need to make a natural phenomenon, which is a great, set in stone concept. Obviously, now they've changed it, that could still happen, but to have someone come back from the future and say, you were meant to be blown up, basically like Relativity, the Time Cops. We know this is meant to happen, now we have to solve it. Like, it'd be nice to have some arc continuity. That would be kind of cool.
Yeah, so as I said at the beginning of the review, nothing happened in this episode. Not a thing. They watched Seinfeld, and that was the end.
And let's just hope Isaac still had the practical joke on him, because it might not have happened. Because that was a great practical joke. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a... Okay, final review, Stuart. Final review, because we've talked the entire episode.
Yeah, this is probably the weakest of the episodes that I've seen. I mean, it had a great concept. It had a nice guest star, which is nice. But I think it was... The setup, like you said, was too long, and the payoff was kind of like, eh. I think they could have focused on just the end part of the episode as the full episode, and which would have been much more exciting. Just start off saying that she's from the future. You guys are going to die. I gotta stop it so you guys can live. And but besides which, I'll be able to sell your ship. I mean, it's good for everybody. Instead of the whole build up to the mystery of her all. So yeah, good episode. Just the weakest out of all of them that we've seen so far.
Yeah, basically, I agree. I think it should have started with them in the shuttle, zooming towards the thing. Start with an action, So, we're gonna make it. We're gonna make it. So, what was that? Oh, that scene. Take out the romance subplot as much as you can, because it was good, but I think they could pull that back. Take out the comedy subplot, be in the future, and then, there's so many good things with the potential. Mm-hmm. They focus on the wrong things, and it's weird to see scene after scene just plot from one to the next in vanilla. Nothing special about any of the scenes. Like, I didn't really like it until the reveal of the 20th century, and then I was like, okay, cool, great, awesome concept. The whole beginning, I was just waiting for what the catch was, who actually she was. Yeah. So. Yeah, apart from the Miss Potato Head, the intro wasn't great. I didn't particularly like. I wouldn't. This is one I would not watch again. There's nothing to take away from it, I think. It's sad because every show's gonna have weak points, but it's such a great concept. And they went to the future, and we see this alien race, and this, and it's just disappointing because Yeah. But yeah, still worth a watch, guys. Still character development. Obviously, we focus on the humans in this episode more than the aliens. But the aliens have had most of the previous episodes, actually. They have a lot of those other sub things. And yeah. I guess out of 10, final comments?
Ooh, out of 10, probably 4.5.
Oh, okay.
Is that a little too harsh for you?
Well, it was still well made. But, again, Jonathan Frakes directed, Seth MacFarlane written. These two heavy hitters, and yet that's the result.
And Charlize Theron guest star, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's strange how much talent went into that, and yet...
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say 5.5 maybe,
So we'll average out of 5 then.
Average out of 5, yeah. So they're weakest so far, but it's not a bad episode.
No.
But it also shows you how good the TNG... especially the one where the guy comes back and steals trinkets. That's a really good episode. Mm-hmm. The characters are really good, and the subplot's really good, and the dialogue... Yeah, so... Can't win them all, guys. Can't win them all.
But you can go back in time or destroy a wormhole and erase it all from ever happening. So we'll just pretend that this never happened, this episode. How's that? This episode of Trekyards reviews, or Fleetyards reviews, never happened. So until the next one that actually does happen, I'm Captain Foley.
And I am Commander Cockings.
See you in the future, guys.
Bye, guys.